All right, question 27. The relative housing cost for a U.S. city is defined to be the ratio of the average housing cost for the city divided by the national average housing cost, okay, expressed as a percent. The scatter plot above shows the relative housing cost and the population density for several large US cities in the year 2005. The line best fit also is also shown in the equation y equal to 0.0125x plus 61, which I find best explains how the number 61 in the equation relates to the scatter plot. Okay, so the number 61, if you look at this equation, what we have here is a linear equation. This is in the slope-intercept form, y equal to mx plus b. And the 61 is right here, so that's the y-intercept. Okay, so and on the graph, it's going to be right there. Okay, see that's about 60, 61-ish. Okay, so we're talking about this number, right? What does it mean? So we know since it's the y-intercept, so it should represent the y value here. Okay, and what's the y value on the graph? Okay, if you look at this is the relative housing cost, okay, as a percent of the national average, right? So 61% of the national average, right? When we have a very low population density, right, is 61% of the national average. Okay, so we go through the answer choices. A says in 2005, the lowest housing cost in the US was about $61 per month. Well, no, that's not true because we said 61 represent is a percentage, right, of the national average. Okay, so it's not going to be $61. It's not a dollar amount. Yeah, so that's not going to work. Okay, so B says in 2005, the lowest housing cost in the US was about 61% of the highest housing cost. Yeah, see, the problem with this answer choice is that it's the 61% of not the highest housing cost, it's 61% of the national average, right? Okay, that's the definition. It's the housing cost for a city divided by the national average. So it's the average for the whole nation, and not those with the highest cost. Okay, so the definition here is a little bit off. Right? Otherwise, that would be good, but then it's not. This is not correct definition. So it's not B. All right, which lead us to either C or D. So C and D, they're very similar, right? So it's almost identical, right? If you look at the two answer choices, the only difference is here. It says in answer choice C, so even in a city with low population density, housing costs were never below 65%, 61% of the national average. D says a city, even in low densities, right, we have housing costs were likely at least 61%. Okay, so they're pretty much saying the same thing, except C says it's never below 61%, and D says it's likely at least 61%. All right, so you see here, C is more absolute, right? It's like an extreme answer. It says it's never gonna go below 61%, whereas D says it's likely, and it's likely that will be at least 61%. So out of the two answers, which one is a better answer, right? As a rule of thumb, right, when we have something like this, more likely than not, it's gonna be the one that's more flexible. Okay, so you want the answer choices to be as flexible as we can, unless we have like an absolute proof. Okay, so most likely the extreme answer are more likely to be wrong. Okay, so the one with a number, yeah, that's too extreme. Because if you just look at this chart, right, it shows us this, remember, this is just the average cost, right? So it's for a whole city. So we could have some houses that are super cheap, right? So it could be, due some other reason, right? It could go below 61%. Okay, so just on average, we see it should be more than 61%, right? So the best way to put it is we want to leave some flexibility, right? We're going to say it's likely at least 61% instead of never go below 61%. Okay, yeah, because unless we have all the number in all the houses in the city, we don't know for sure, right? We don't know for sure it's never gonna go below. Okay, so that's why D is actually the better answer for this question.